Shoutouts for this video go to Trevor Rodway, Rick the Rock Pate, Chris Davies, Love Minis, Horlicks, The Miniatures Paintbrush and the World of Mike Anderson.
Mind the gap.
Okay, so on to stage 6, which is the front right fork. Now unfortunately this is all you get with this. Now I did keep it in the plastic wrapper. This is just to help protect it for as long as possible, and the only really thing that's identifying about this is that we have 2 holes there and we have some kind of locating pin. Now if we take our front fender from the previous issue, if we turn it around the correct way, and we know that this is the correct way because we have this little I don't know what you'd call it, but it just kind of flicks off at the end just to make it nice, probably more functional. Now we have 3 holes there. This is purely speculation, you won't find this in the magazine, but I can speculate that 2 screw holes there and 1 locating pin. That's going to help you line up that, and that will screw in. Now that helps us a lot, and I'm starting to find, although we're looking at this magazine as, oh, it's a part, you know, here's a part, just keep it to one side. Actually we're beginning to do quite a lot with these parts. So although we're not doing anything physical, if we now get our tyre from a previous issue with our fender, there we go, we can now begin to roughly work out what it's going to look like, and that is starting to look magnificent without even building anything. How do we position that? We've got to keep that Harley-Davidson on show, haven't we? But also this enables us to start to think, will we customize this bike? So for example, should I remove this paint? Should I put my own colour paint on? You know, these are all things that we can begin to think about. At this stage I'm saying, right, let's build it stock, but I don't know, could I perhaps paint these wheels so that we've got white wall tyres? Who knows? These are all things for me to think about. So that's issue 6, and what we'll do is we'll move on to issue 7, which is a little bit more meaty, shall I use that word? And what we're receiving is 2 parts that we're going to, well, 3 parts in total, but over 2 sections. And what we do is the first thing that we receive is the crankcase. Now we can see on here we've got the 2 sections for the cylinders. The cylinders haven't been completed yet. We've received 2 parts. There should be, I suspect there'll be 4 parts in total, and this comes in 2 parts, and it is clearly labelled. It's really different. There we go. So there's an L in there and there's an R in there. So when it comes down to it, we will know that it goes this way around, not that way. We also get these stickers for the air filter, and I must admit I wasn't keen on getting stickers to start with. However, how do you get the small detail? It does say in the magazine that by having stickers it can reproduce things, and let's face it, on the real thing they do put stickers on, little warning stickers. I can't actually read these, but one is a warning sign, one is warning of a fire hazard, and one is saying unstable handling and or loss of control may result from. So this is the warning. This is telling you what happens, that it could result in loss of control, and this one is the fire hazard may exist. So I'll have some plays with this. Perhaps I'll run it through the scanner. I'll see if perhaps I can get it a little bit bigger. But that is it for this issue. And to be honest with you, I think it's a good one. We're starting to get lots of parts, because let's forget, it's very easy for us to sit here and think, well, I want something to do every issue. Yeah, that's fine. And if you remember in the last video, we did have a lot to do. I thought this handlebar was quite a lot to do. But what this is enabling us to do is we can have a look at the parts, we can study the parts, we can speculate, and that's all good fun. But when we do actually come to build, we're going to have a lot to do. It's a case of patience is a virtue. So I'm going to leave that now. I like to keep mine packaged up, so when you open the packages, try to open them carefully. Try to leave as much of the packaging free as you can. So for example, what I'm going to do with this one is wrap that up nice and tight. Now that's not going to fall out then, and then I like to clearly label my parts. So that's it then for this fortnight. Now in the next fortnight, I am going to have a struggle. We have, I believe it's a three-part issue, and I believe the first part and the last part are quite short. They're not really anything to do, whereas the second one is it's another build. It's a little bit extra to build, so we're quite looking forward to that. However, it presents me with the problem: if I do 3 separate videos, 2 of them are going to be very small. If I do 2 separate videos, we could end up with a small one and a long one, or I could skip a part and come back. However, tell me how you think it would work out. What would happen if I skipped a part and then went back to a previous one? Would that work for you guys? Or should I just go for something and maybe, you know what I'm like, I find something to chat about. So thank you for watching, guys, and I really appreciate your time. Have a good fortnight. So Trevor Rodway writes, another informative video, leaving the viewer in no doubt as to how the parts go together. Although I am not doing this build, I still enjoy watching you explain the right and wrong ways of construction. Keep up the good work. I really do appreciate that comment. The reason being is you're saying that although you're not doing the build, you're watching the video. This means that I'm reaching out to people, which has always been my intention. I mean, it'd be nice if you could do the build, but it's also nice that you can get the enjoyment from it without actually building it yourself. Rick the Rock Pate writes, pretty cool. Chris Davies writes, awesome video. Love Minis writes, great information video, complete with the background information and all. Horlicks writes, great video, Penny, and very informative to anyone who is not familiar with a motorbike and riding positions. I really want this build, being a biker myself. I'm hoping it will go on sale, then I will be on to it. Great content, thank you. Thank you again for this comment. I mean, it would be nice if you could do it, just like, I say this to anybody. This was on sale when I purchased it. I get £5 off every month, and pack 1 was greatly reduced, about 75% discount. I also do try to put the extra information in. A lot of people will be like, well, I don't know anything about bikes. So I try to just fill in a little bit of information about it. So Miniatures Paintbrush writes, I've always wanted to build a motorcycle. Penny, it's amazing how your dedication to the quality content is inspiring. Cheers. Again, thank you for that comment. And lastly, the World of Mike Anderson writes, I feel so embarrassed, I knew my part didn't look right. Thank you so much for explaining how this fits. I will rectify this ASAP. Thanks again for explaining, much appreciated. I'm going to give you some advice, if I may. There's a lot of part work builders out there, not necessarily on YouTube, but on other social media platforms such as Facebook. It's always good to talk to them. I've spoken to a few people myself, and I've just simply said, does this look right to you? And sometimes they say, oh no, you want to try doing this. It's surprising what you can learn when you start speaking to other people. Okay, so that's everything for this fortnight. Have a great 14 days, and I will see you all again shortly.